Hey everyone, welcome to another build. I've pulled out another kit, a 1968 Shelby GT500. I'm going to paint this one red. In the previous build I painted an engine using a Tamiya pure red, and when I painted the engine I thought, oh gee, this would look pretty good on a Shelby or a Mustang. So I pulled out the kit and let's see how it looks. So the first thing I'm going to do is work on the body. I may or may not give it a quick rinse in soapy water, and then work on priming it, and if needed, any sanding, and then get the paint down before starting on the rest of the model so that it's got time to gas out before I put a clear coat on. Okay, so I've done some tidy up with, tidying the flash up and, any minor sanding that's needed. I'm going to go and give it a coat of primer with the expectation that it will show more things up, and I'll come back, sand it again if needed, and prime it one more time before paint. I'll just be using my usual primer, which is the fine Tamiya surface primer. I'm not going to worry about two passes for this coat. I'll just do it in one. This dries very quickly. Plus I'll be sanding it again. So I'm back from the first primer coat. As I suspected, I've been able to now see a few bits that I've missed. So I'm going to give it another sand, shoot some primer on it again, and see if we're close enough to start shooting paint. Just going to give it a second prime now to cover up where I've sanded. So I've given it another sanding, another priming, and I'm going to go and shoot some of that TS86 pure red. See what we come up with. Back in a tick. Coat 2. Final coat. So I'm just making some progress on the interior, and I'm going to do the interior semi-gloss black, which I think is perfect for the type of material in the car. I'm going to pick out some of the wood in the console and on the dash, so I won't paint it with I won't glue this in till I've painted the semi-gloss black, and then I'll put it in. But I just thought this one here almost got me. I saw the hole for the gear lever, and I assumed that it would sit over that. But I don't think it does, because then when I put that in, that's way too far back. If you look up how that's meant to look in a GT500 interior, that should be under the console like that. So it's a good example of why you have to test fit, because I accidentally almost glued that in the wrong spot. So I've got the body back from paint. I haven't yet polished it or anything like that. That's just sprayed with the paint. But that's a sneak preview of the colour. So the next thing I'm going to do is start working on the wheels and tyres, and apply some panel liner and just put the body down. And I've also got a Molotow chrome pen, so it's finally arrived, and I will be using that pen to touch up where the chrome, where you cut through the sprue and the chrome is lost and things like that. So I'll get started on that now. So you can see on this rim that the chrome has come off, and that's what I've got this ignore the red paint on my hands. That's what I've got this pen for. See how it fills the chrome? Now I'll do the other side, because I cut a piece out of here too. So it's filled it. Now because I took a notch out of the rim with my blade, it's obviously not going to fill that, but it's covered up the colour and basically colour matched it, I think. You can also build it up, so you seem to be able to layer it. So anyway, I'm happy with that. So I'm going to go shoot some clear coat. I haven't polished this one, I'm not going to. And I'm also going to paint the interior with that semi-gloss black. So, be back. So just using clear. I'll start with a very light coat. Back in a sec. Second mist coat. Now I'll come back shortly. Okay, slightly heavier. Final wet coat. So the next thing I'm going to do is try to pick out some of the interior. I had a look online to see what the colour schemes were, and it looks like they had the wood grain sort of thing going on. So I've just picked a random brown colour. No idea if it's going to be the right one. And I'm going to pick out some of the wood trim. So this is with a clear coat now applied. I just thought I'd give you a look at how that's come out. I'm going to pick out the trims on this one, or I'm going to try to. I wasn't sure, I probably should have done that before I clear coated it, but I could always clear coat it again if I wanted to. And I'll do the decals at the very end because I don't ever clear coat over decals. This might end badly because I'm going to hold the camera at the same time as I use the pen, but I always like to try to show what I'm talking about. I've done the window trims like that too. I've missed one little spot on the pillar, but I'll get that in a moment. I've done the same on the other side. can ignore my fingernails, that's not nail polish, that's paint. So painting gloves or whatever when you paint. But I didn't have any and I got paint on me, so I've got to go wash that off. But anyway, I've picked out the handles on the door. It was literally just as easy as using the pen and marking it out. I didn't even mask for it, and I thought I would have to. So definitely a cool bit of kit, the Molotow pens. So I'm starting to get some colour in the interior too, and I thought, oh, I can pick out the edges of the bezels on the dash with that pen, which is what I've done. So looks pretty good. Very basic interior. I'm going to let that dry and then put a wash over it, but yeah, I just thought I'd show you a bit more of that pen. So the next thing I'm going to go do is put panel liner in the door panel gaps, and I'll come back to you. If a bit goes over, don't worry, just wipe it off. But you can see what I'm saying, you just apply it like that and it'll run along. It's just hard because I'm filming while I'm talking. I'll just get a bit of paper towel and wipe up that excess. So I've done the panel lines for the doors. You can see if you get a bit over the edges, just wipe it up with a bit of paper towel or whatever. On the back. And the other side, I'm not going to do the window, the front and rear window trim. I very rarely do that, if ever. And this model will be no exception. So I've put a bit of the panel liner in the grooves there. Pressing on. I'm just going to put some more of that panel line accent. I'll show you what I do here. I just move it around until it sort of looks like it's spread. I don't normally put that much on, but I'm doing this from behind my camera, so it's a bit tricky. You can see what I do, just rub it on, gives it a bit of detail. I'll just do this, I'll pause and come back and show you. So you can see it settles it down a lot, highlights a lot of the lines and the text. I've put it all over the red paint to make it look like the engine's filthy. I want it to look like a car that's driven and, you know, not really cleaned under the hood. Moving on. So I've made some progress on the interior. I've used that chrome pen, the Molotow pen, to trace around the steering wheel and the belts and bezels and that sort of stuff. I've had fun working on the interior. I often leave them a bit subdued, but it sort of inspired me in a coming build to, you know, go a bit crazier on an interior and see what we can come up with. Update on the engine. I'm putting the glass in now. Anyone who's watched me before knows the spiel I'm going to make, which is I don't run a big bead of glue because I don't want to put the glass in and sandwich that glue out onto the paint, because glue will dissolve your paint, just like sitting it on sandpaper like I'm doing. Don't be me. So when I put the glass in, I'll clean it back a bit so that it's plastic on plastic contact, but I'll just touch glue. You know, I don't even know if I'll glue along the back or anywhere where it's too close to coming through. I won't put any, but I'll sit the glass in and then just touch along the edge and let some seep under. Because every time I've tried to run a bead and I've put the glass in, it sandwiches and comes through and wrecks my paint. So if you know a better way to do it, by all means, let me know what your method is, but just be very wary about running a bead and then squashing your glass in, because you may wreck your paint. Well everyone, I've done as much as I'm going to do on this model for the video. I've still got 2 bits I've got to do. When that engine dries in there, I've got to run the hose to the radiator, the little black hose, and I'm going to possibly fab a dual exhaust. Now it does come with exhausts, well the exhaust tips rather, but I haven't put them on yet because I'd like to fab something there. I'm really happy with how this kit came out. Didn't have any problems. Yeah, just a really enjoyable kit. So I hope you've enjoyed watching this one. I really got to get one of those turntables, don't I? Not very professional sitting here using my hand. Done the interior. Nothing complex, just a sort of basic interior. I didn't have any problems with the decals. In a coming video I will show you how I do decals. But other than that, the possibly one piece of advice I will give is those side scoops, they were not on when I painted the body. So my advice would be put them on before you paint the body, or you'll get to the end of the kit and realise you've got this clear coated body and you've got to apply these 4 scoops separately, which was no problem for me. I just sort of did that, but even though I read the instructions end to end before I built this, I don't know, I just brain faded. I should have put them on before I sprayed it. But no big deal, live and learn. Alright, that's it for me. I'm going to build another video this week. I'll pull a model out of the cupboard, and hope you all take care of yourselves, and I'll catch you in the next video. Happy modelling.